Hi, I'm Mike Morheim from Blizzard, and you're listening to The Instance.
The World of Warcraft podcast, so you don't have to. This is The Instance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Instance. This is The Instance episode. What are we here? Hold on.
538.
538. It's the 538, yo. We're back at it. We're doing a show, and we're happy to be here. I'm joined, of course, by Patrick Beja, all the way from Finland. What's going on there in Helsinki? Is it snowing yet? Are you guys dying from the winter? What's going on?
No, not yet. It's wonderful autumn. Have you not seen the pictures?
I have seen the pictures.
Have you not been stalking me on Instagram and Twitter?
I have been. I always stalk you on there. I'm always looking for a little Patrick in my life.
Well, okay, so in case you haven't, here is what we have now.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Yeah, look at that. That's kind of what we have right now. That's us right now, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fall, right? We get fall, and then comes winter. And then you get spring, summer's then, and then you get another fall.
Most people don't survive through winter here. So for them, spring never comes. But.
I see. Well, it's good to have my emotional support animal, Patrick, alongside me today. Long story. We talked about it pre-show. But we're hurtling toward Blizzcon at an alarming rate, and there's lots to talk about today. We were going to have Garrett with us today from his phone in a car on his drive back to Florida. He's been away for a couple of weeks and busy with some stuff, so we thought, hey, let's try to squeeze him in here, but we could not maintain a connection up to the standards of The Instance, which are pretty low, by the way. Those standards are low, but you got to at least hear his voice, I figure, for it to count. So sadly, we will not have Garrett today, and I don't know where Terpster is. He's busy boy, running around. Who knows if he'll show up? He might. If he does, I'll bring him in. If he doesn't, well, them's the deal. And we should mention this too. BlizzCon, which is like what, 2.3 2 weeks away.
So next week is Red Dead Redemption 2 week, and then after that is BlizzCon.
Yeah, and I leave on. Let's say I play Red Dead Redemption until presumably Tuesday night, because I leave Wednesday. That Wednesday, the week of, which is Halloween. I leave on Halloween Day to go to BlizzCon. And then all bets are off. So I only have a short amount of time to enjoy the Red Dead, which I'm very much looking forward to. But Terpster will be at BlizzCon this year. I'll be there. Patrick will not be there, which is a huge bummer. Like, everybody, let's all mourn together. Don't just have me doing it.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I was really sad until the middle of this week, and then we learned stuff, and I was like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that, because we may have gotten some news this week that was I'm still parsing it. I think there's something to be interpreted here, and maybe we don't have the full story. Well, clearly we don't have the full story.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll talk about
we have that and lots more to talk about today. Thank you all for joining us. Let's get right into it. Couple things we know about BlizzCon, which is what we'll start with, since that is heavy on everyone's mind. Don't worry, we got WoW stuff to talk about here in a minute. But they released a layout of the con floor, which they do every year. Chat room, here's a visual for you. As you can see, all the normal halls and stuff, including the expanded areas in the North Hall.
It has become so huge.
Yeah, it's monstrous.
So huge. Do you remember the time it was basically 2 halls? I think it was 2 halls initially the first year.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. Like it was hall maybe D and C or something, or maybe A and B. I don't remember, but yeah, they've taken over the entire.
And now it's
thing.
like, for people who don't realize, the Anaheim Convention Center is pretty big, and it's been expanding, I think partly just to accommodate BlizzCon.
Yeah.
But there are 4 gigantic halls already.
Yeah.
And initially they were only taking the 2, and then they grew to 3, and then 4. And then it's like there's the arena, which is also part of it. And then they added the North Hall, level 1 and level 2. And it's like there are 7 halls, and all of them are taken up by stuff happening for Blizzard. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's bananas. And the way this floor looks at it almost oversimplifies it. Like, you forget how actually huge this is. There is a huge distance between Hall E, where you get your tickets and register, to hanging out in the community Dark Moon Fair area in the North Hall.
It takes you a full day to go from one to the other.
Yeah, it's like walking across a map in like Assassin's Creed or something. Anyway,
and they don't have fast travel.
No, they don't.
Which is, I think, an oversight they should fix. But
I completely agree.
Mention Hole E. The entirety of Hole E, well, except for just a little bit, is the store. It's just the BlizzCon store, and it's an entire hole. It's insane.
Yeah, that's a kind of a recent development. Last year they did that as well, but this entire thing is, it's a monster. Now, let's get to the important bit that we started to learn this week, and that is that the schedule is laid out as such that it shows the big keynote introductory hoo-ha that you normally have Mike Morhaime, although we don't know if we're getting Morhaime this year or not. What we're going to see up there, but it's probably going to be what's his name?
J. Allen Brack.
Sorry, I'm going to have a hard time remembering this.
President of Blizzard Entertainment Incorporated International.
That's the guy. So I assume he or someone like him is the more proper use of the English language, will be up there and doing his deal and talking about whatever. Many, including myself, have assumed that this was the year that we would get a major Diablo announcement. I have been convinced right up until a couple of days ago that was going to be the case, because all signs pointed to it. The schedule shows the immediate use of the main mythic stage. This is the main stage where all the people go for all the big stuff, is occupied by the Diablo What's Next panel right after the keynote. So that alone is enough to say to me, oh, that's what they do whenever something big happens, whether it was Overwatch or whether it was a WoW expansion or whether it was whatever it is, they always clear it out and bring in the hot new business that just got announced. So I'm thinking...
I mean, to be fair, you've been predicting Diablo 4 for the past 17 years, it feels like. And mostly you've been made fun of by a lot of people.
Yeah.
This year, I think everyone and their mother, brother, and entire family was convinced we were going to get Diablo 4. Every sign pointed to it. And until, it was the blissful time of last week. Back then, things were looking up, the roses were red, the birds were flying, and everyone was happy, and we were going to get Diablo 4. Everyone knew we were going to get Diablo 4 announced.
Yeah.
And in an exercise of textbook expectation managing, basically Blizzard was like, holy crap, they really all think we're getting Diablo 4. If we don't show Diablo 4, which we're not going to show or announce, everyone's going to be super bummed at the show.
Yeah.
And that is when you need to manage expectations. So they posted a quick message saying, hey guys, we know you are expecting Diablo 4, but really it's not happening. So, maybe don't expect it too much, because since it's not going to happen, you're going to be disappointed.
Well,
and they didn't quite spell it out that way, but that's what it means.
It is textbook temper your expectations kind of language. I'll read a little bit of it here. They say they do have Diablo announcements to make. They did kind of cop to that, but that could be anything from, hey, the new Netflix show's ready to go, or hey, the playable Switch versions on the show floor are, up to 8 of you can play, or something weird. I mean, who knows what? It could be anything. So this is what they said. BlizzCon 2018 is almost here, and we've seen a lot of rumors flying around about our plans for Diablo at the show, according to the Post. These are very exciting times. We currently have multiple teams working on different Diablo projects, but we can't wait to tell you about them, ... when the time is right. What the H is that? The time is right in 2 weeks. That's the time. That's the right time. Why are you not doing it then? Like, I mean, obviously they're whatever they're doing. If they don't have whatever their mainline product is ready for showtime, I mean, I get it. This is Blizzard. They won't do it till they're ready. Like, that's what they do. And they've always done this. So none of us should be surprised about this. But what
Well,
else
I
could
think
it
we
be,
can be a little bit
Patrick?
surprised.
What else could it be? Because they've got the whole Mythic stage after the keynote. What do you do up there?
So, first of all, I can't tell you how incredibly bummed I was by this announcement. I was so excited to get Diablo 4. I miss some good Diablo in my life. I've played Diablo 3 so much. I loved it so much, but I'm done with it.
Yeah, you played it to death. So have I.
I was like, thank God they did it now and they didn't wait until the actual thing, because I swear I would have like punched my monitor or something if the intro had ended without a one more thing or Diablo. But
Right.
yeah, it's very weird because, as you said, the schedule makes it very clear that there is something, not just the schedule, to be honest. They have been teasing this for a while. You have the Brandy Camel, I think, the community manager for Diablo, who went on Twitter and said, hey, we have a bunch of different stuff to announce. At some point, we're working on many things, and we look forward to announcing them. Not all, at the same time, but obviously some things are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you're like, okay, maybe. And then you have the Diablo Switch version, which they announce ahead of time. So okay, that means you have something else, probably a little bigger, coming at the show. And they had the Diablo skin for Sombra in Overwatch, which is the BlizzCon virtual ticket or, in-game bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something Diablo brewing, or at least it's very reasonable to assume that this is what's happening. But now they've said very clearly that it's not Diablo 4. So what could it be? I don't know. If they hadn't already announced the Switch version, someone could have speculated that that could be a possibility. But they can't just be selling us the Switch version. Mm-hmm. Especially, by the way, they confirmed that you won't have cross-play or cross-save or whatever. So we know everything we need to know about that. It can't be just that. And they have a Diablo What's Next panel right after BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm.
They can't talk just about, maybe they're going to announce a Netflix show or, give details on the Netflix show, which has been announced. But again, that doesn't warrant a full panel right after the introduction. So there has to be something, but maybe a side project, something using the Diablo IP, maybe a smaller game, maybe a mobile game, maybe, I don't know. But it's certainly not going to be the titular Diablo 4 title. And honestly, when I first read the message, I was super bummed because I thought, okay, that's it. We're not going to get anything. And BlizzCon is going to be super weak. Basically, it's going to be all WoW Classic, and that's it. Yeah. And that would have been very disappointing.
Sure.
But given the fact that you have the Diablo What's Next panel right after, it has to be something. But
yeah,
I don't know. What do you think it is?
Well, the expectations are so high for many reasons, one of which is people are paying $200 a pop for tickets that are coming to this thing, and they do expect something. That's a lot of pressure on Blizzard to deliver something big at the opening ceremonies. All signs point to 2010's weird Geek Is thing from Metzen was a last-minute, and I can never get him to admit this, but a last-minute slip in because they were ready to announce or at least start talking about Titan and pulled back. And they were like, oh, crap, we got to do something last second here. And that's what they ended up doing, throwing together. That's the rumor. I don't know if it's been substantiated by anybody, but
it's the rumor you've been spreading. So
it's the rumor I keep talking about, sure. I'm the one that's maliciously telling everybody these horrible lies. But what I want to know is, like, if you're going to dedicate full stage time, you've got to have something more than just, hey, the Switch title comes out tomorrow. Like, there's no way that's it. That's already announced. That's already a thing. We already know that they'll have playable stations on the floor. Like this is a known quantity. We know price. We know the special edition thing coming. We know all that stuff. So I can't imagine it has. You don't dedicate the next 45 minutes on your main stage where everyone sits on their butt and doesn't move to just that. So what it is, I don't know. Like, you mentioned mobile or something else. I mean, one of these other many projects they claim many teams are working on, I'll bet it's something in that range. What I don't want is remastered 2 or 1. I mean, that's fine.
No, I'm sure that's coming. I mean, it's a very possible announcement as well, but you're right. It can't be just that. Everyone will be super bummed if it's just that.
Right. So even that combined with what we're doing with the Switch, those two things alone are not enough for, I think, Mythic Main Stage. Maybe this has been a third theory being floated out there. They've got a second full-blown expansion in the wings. For 3.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah. Now,
which would be, that would be okay. Yeah. I think maybe not full blown. I think a character pack might be it. I don't think we're going to see a full blown expansion. That honestly, I don't believe. The Diablo team has been winding down very clearly. I can see a character pack. A full blown expansion would be very surprising.
Yeah. But just a character pack would be a bummer, man. I mean, I like new characters.
I don't know.
Don't get me wrong.
I think it would be better than nothing, but a full-blown expansion, the thing is they have milked those systems from the game so much that it's to the point that you can't do anything further with it, or you would have to change the systems entirely, I think. So
yeah.
You're not going to get people 6 years in to get excited again to do, get to level 80 and then do some greater rifts again. It's like, this isn't WoW. It doesn't work the same way. I don't think that would be exciting. But the thing is, for those who don't understand, that the reason we keep referencing that that panel after the opening ceremony is that traditionally, and it makes sense, they announce something, their big thing at the ceremony when they have something very quickly. They have maybe a CG movie and a quick cut. A movie is showing some of the features, and then they go into details about that announcement at that subsequent panel.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable to assume that's what's going to be happening there. But
chat room seems to think maybe Druid class would be a thing.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would be, if they announce a character class, I'm guessing everyone thought it would be the Druid.
Druids were very popular in 2, and I want to say that class came about in the Lords of Destruction expansion, and it was a very popular character in 2. So it's entirely possible it's something like that. That would be colossally disappointing to me. They would dedicate a ton of stage space and time to a new character in a game that, content-wise, it just isn't changing. Like a new character. I mean, I love the idea of a new character, but I have seen every corner, everything that game has to give me. Multiple times over, and that's I don't think enough anymore. I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day. He's very excited about the prospect of a new Diablo, but as it is right now, he's currently obsessed with what's it called? Path of Exile, PoE, and I've played Path of Exile, and I don't like how it plays. I just love how much content there is, but I don't like the minute-to-minute play. I think it's stiff and a little weird, and whatever, some people like that, but it's not my thing. I like the fluidity and the speed and the kind of moment-to-moment play in Diablo 3 a lot more, but I love the content and the breadth of content and the constant updating of content that's coming to PoE, so it'd be really cool. Like, I would just play... if they got up on stage... and this is never going to happen, but if they got up on stage and said, we're just going to turn D3 into a big service and add new stuff constantly and new areas and new gameplay mechanics and new ways to play the game, and just it's now become this thing. And and by the way, if you already own it, here's a bunch of bonuses you get, and if you don't own it, it's free to play starting today, and they turned it into a service. I'd take that over just a character pack. Like, I just want more Diablo and not just more characters on top of... It's like saying, well, I want more cheese on the burger. I need more burger first. Give me some burger. I need more patties. Cheese is fine, but you're only at the end of the day, you're putting cheese on an old burger, and I need new burger.
I like that analogy. I think it works.
It sounds like something I'd want to eat right now. It's the sad part. Anyway.
So, I mean, maybe this is a very out there theory, but maybe they don't want to talk about anything Diablo related, and they put that here just because they didn't want to put, unannounced project or TBD on the schedule. And maybe they're going to announce an entirely different game or IP, and that's the Diablo thing is a placeholder for that.
It could be that. It's entirely possible. Yeah, there's been a few theories floated about that, but here's another theory. What if this tempering expectations blog post is just to reduce hype so that when they do come out and announce Diablo 4 or whatever it will be, they can surprise everybody and say, we tricked you, we got you.
No. They would never ever do that. And the reason is, if they do that, then they can never be trusted again, and they can't control the narrative. Right? If they do that, then anytime they say, "Oh, we're not ready to talk about whatever," or "Yes, this is what we're planning," everyone's gonna go like, "You're pulling a BlizzCon 2018 again. I can see what you're doing," and no one will trust their word.
That's a good point.
I would be like, it would be entirely unprofessional to do something like this, and Blizzard is not known to be unprofessional.
Yeah. It's by the way, the chat room says it really well. Adobe Templar says Path of Exile is a game I admire, but I can't enjoy very much, unfortunately. That's kind of where I'm at. If it played like Diablo, it's all I would do. It's all I would do.
Well, the thing is, it's a different target. Diablo is much more arcadey, easier to approach.
Yeah.
Diablo 3, and Path of Exile is a little bit more Diablo 2-ish.
Yeah, I would agree.
So
it has that kind of stilted play, and people, I think a lot of people, including the makers of that game, wanted that, and that's fine. It's just I really like the systems in 3 and have.
It's not for the same public.
Yeah,
for the same audience.
Oh yeah, Torchlight Frontiers. That's a thing that's coming, isn't it? Forgot about that. I mean, you know what? And part of me is just like, give me some things that I'd be really into in the meantime. So that's going to have to come from other game makers right now, because Diablo, you broke my heart this week. You came out there and you said, you went, hey, guess what? It's not going to, don't get too excited, basically, is what they said. And I always think that's a huge bummer. So part of me is more excited than ever, though, because we get to find out what the hell's actually going on finally. Like in 2 weeks, there's no more, artificial hype about a thing that isn't maybe happening. Now it's like, well, what are you going to do then? Like, just out of professional curiosity, I'm anxious to find out.
I think they have to announce a new game. Whether it's a new IP or not, they have to announce a new game for the hype to not be, or for people to not be super disappointed. Anything less than a new game would be different gradients of disappointment.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what it could be. Like, if they were to announce something, what would you like it to be? Because now, as you said, we're curious to know what they would announce. If it was a new game, what would you like the game to be? It's not going to be Warcraft 4, by the way.
No.
StarCraft 2 has not, the time for RTSs is not now.
No.
So not Warcraft 4.
Yeah.
But
guaranteed it's not Warcraft 4.
What would you like them to do? Something new, something different?
All right, here's what I want. And it's so easy in this cloud of Diablo hype and talk to forget about the StarCraft universe and wanting to see it expanded. So for me, a very pleasant, cool surprise, and I'd take it from the Overwatch area as well if it had to be, but I would love something else in the StarCraft universe. I don't just mean finally release Ghost, but something else, some other genre. I always fall back on like a giant 4X universe turn-based strategy game. I don't think they're making that, but that's just a little dream of mine. But maybe a squad-based shooter, maybe just something else. The problem is the kind of games I want out of Blizzard right now, they're tending not to make. They are focused, and a lot of the industry and biggest players in the industry, especially in PC gaming, are focused this way too, but everything's very competitive focused, very esports focused. How well will this work as a service focused? And so me wanting a single player tactical squad-based shooter in the StarCraft universe is not very realistic in 2018 standards. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, yes, you're right. It could be a little bit of a not their focus, but they did announce two very different genres of games. The last two games they released were something they had never done before: Hearthstone and Overwatch. A card game came out of nowhere, a multiplayer shooter came out of nowhere for Blizzard, and both were widely successful. A squad-based basically an XCOM is what you're talking about, right?
Right. Yeah, like
that could be.
Oh, that would be
could
amazing. Oh my gosh, don't even get me excited.
Could be interesting, and I would love, because as always, what they do best is bring in a genre that is super popular for a niche quote unquote audience, and making it accessible to everyone. Right. And that's something I love about the company.
I do too. I think that would be cool. Yeah. They figure out a way to make
be honest,
that more mainstream.
What I really want is a fighting game, but we kind of know we're not getting that.
Yeah.
But maybe we're hyping ourselves too much again. Maybe we should just not talk about any of this and wait and see what Papa Blizzard is going to feed the little birdies that we are and that we're going to love.
Papa Blizzard. I would love that. Now, there's a comment in the chat room that kind of floors me a little bit. Wolverine says, their word isn't trustworthy at the moment. I don't know where that would come from. What is it about Blizzard's word you don't find trustworthy? Because if they've never come out and said, hey, expect Diablo 4 this year. This is all us doing this. And in fact, this blog post is a response to a part of the community they don't control, like us getting all bubbled up about what's coming. I don't understand how that makes them not trustworthy. That's weird to me.
The community messaging was, we have Diablo stuff in the works.
Yeah.
So it's not unreasonable to assume, as we said, there were a number of things that led us to believe there's Diablo 4. I think they wanted to say, hey, we have a Diablo thing coming, and we kind of got overhyped and decided it was Diablo 4. I think they should have spelled it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think they were saying, hey, we have multiple projects in the work and we're not ready to announce all of them. And they thought we would understand that it means no Diablo 4, but something Diablo. And we didn't get that read, which I think was an unreasonable read to expect.
Yeah.
So that's why they had to come and course correct. But yeah, saying they're not trustworthy, I think is...
It's a little weird. Like, I mean, I get that they're, like, right now there's, some BFA frustration from players about certain issues in the game that they're aware of and talking about.
Yeah, but that's different.
But that is different. I don't know. Even then, I don't know how that speaks to trustworthiness. Like, Blizzard has always struck me as...
I know.
Well, what?
Diablo 3, a new mode, Diablo Battle Royale.
I'm in.
No?
I'm in.
Okay, maybe not.
No. Listen.
I don't know
Wait.
that I am in.
Wait.
No,
I am all in on that idea. Honestly, I would play the hell out of that.
Wait. You haven't heard the entirety of it.
Okay.
The thing is, they added a mechanic which is construction to the game. So by the end of it, you're building structures and you're building towers, and you have to, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So are you still in?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm still in. Look, I'm in for whatever they want to do, but I think this is just a weird idea that, I don't know, the kind of company Blizzard is and the kind of games they've given you over the last 27 years, it feels like a very personal relationship. You have a relationship with their games that goes beyond normal sort of game connection. It's the kind of thing you would have with Zelda or Mario or some other game you grew up with. They are part of your life in a very meaningful way. You think about stuff in terms of the kind of games you played with when it comes to Blizzard. So I get the feeling of ownership we have. But because they make decisions either on a corporate level or otherwise that take them in directions that we don't always love, that somehow makes them untrustworthy, evil, they've lost their minds, they've fallen on their face, like that kind of stuff. I don't understand that thinking. That's weird to me. Like, you just got to pull back a little bit and go, all right, it's not always going to be perfect. Like right now, I think BFA's in kind of a weird twist. The current state of the game is a little funky for me even. Like, I'm enjoying it and I'm raiding and I'm enjoying that experience. I think the new raid is awesome. I guess shouldn't call it new anymore. It's kind of now the raid that we have until the next raid. But I think it's one of the best raids that they've done in the game mechanically. I think it's awesome. But that's about all I'm doing now because there's not a lot else really motivating me. I'm not super stoked about grinding rep or doing other boring things. And so I think the game is in a really weird place, and it has been before, and it probably will be again, and they'll figure out a way to tune it where it needs to be. But even that doesn't make me go, they've lost it, that's it. They've lost their minds, everyone's out of it, forget it, Blizzard screwed up. Like, I don't know how you get that. I don't know how you get from there to there. I guess I'm just trying to understand it. And so someone can try to explain that to me if they want. But To me, if you really like, for example, if you're playing BFA and you're like, oh man, this game's a bummer this time around, you probably just don't subscribe to it, don't play it, or wait until they've done something to it and then come back and then pay for it. Like, don't pay for something you're not enjoying, is what I'm saying. I don't blame you for that, but this idea that this weird doom and gloom thing people do around gaming, I guess I'll never understand it, and I should quit asking. Anyway. So there's our expectations. They've been lowered. Lowered expectations.
Puyo Puyo-like mobile game with StarCraft units as Puyo Blobs.
Okay, how about this? How about okay, they have King, right? Now King owns Activision. So we've been saying this for a long time. You take the legendary gems from Diablo and you make a gem matching game that you put all the development heat on King over there to get it done, but it's all themed and stuff around Diablo. I would certainly play that sooner than I'd play Candy Crush, I can tell you that, which isn't very soon.
That is genius. Okay, all right, serious talk. Okay. I have it.
Go.
They now have a deep relationship with Nintendo.
Got it.
Kari Stockton comes out with the biggest grinning face he's ever had because he's working with Nintendo and announces which game could it be? F it, let's do that. Diablo/Mario crossover as a platformer?
Oh.
No, not platformer. I don't know, something.
He's
Diablo Mario crossover.
That says a lot because Stockton is already a very smiley guy. So your idea that he comes out with the biggest smile ever is a pretty intense idea. I like it. Okay, all right, Patrick, I'm in on your weird reality.
Excellent.
I'm in.
I called it.
You did call it.
And by the way, Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, it is cruel of Blizzard to have engineered this for months and months just to once again make your prediction wrong. It's honestly, I think that's a low blow. I think they could have been a little bit more considerate towards your ego and record.
Yeah.
So just doing all this just to make Diablo 4 Scott's Diablo 4 prediction wrong feels like an under the belt thing.
Yeah, and nobody wants to go under the belt ever when it comes to me. I can promise you that.
Not with Scott.
That's true. All right, let's look at some World of Warcraft news. Ian Hazzikostas talked to Forbes magazine, or is it Forbes.com? Anyway, they had a lot to talk about. Obviously, this is a little bit more of a, this isn't gamers asking him questions. This is a formal interview type thing, so you're not going to get a ton of things out of him. However, they did talk a lot and at length. And Forbes is up in their sort of games journalism game quite a bit lately, so they're, I think, a decent source for this sort of stuff. But they talked to him. Here are the major takeaways as far as I'm concerned. The team makes sure that the core systems of the expansions are polished and ready to go, but realize that they can't delay an entire expansion for millions of players in a specific class if a specific class or spec is not perfect yet. That was in response to a question about, people's complaints that my druid sucks right now. What happened to Feral? Feral's broken and you... Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, is our shaman currently in the toilet? Is that the thing? I don't even know. I don't know.
I think shaman have always been kind of the underdog. That's the joke, at least. But yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize they were getting...
No, isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was like resto shamans or maybe it's not it. You know what? Don't ask me questions.
I'm never going to ask you a question again. That's the last one you're ever going to get.
You really shouldn't.
Yeah.
You really should.
Yeah, I'm done. Patrick will never get another question from me except for like probably 30 seconds from now. Anyway, he went on to say Ian never said that the classes were not complete in the Q&A, in which he said certain specs needed to be wait for a patch to get adjustments, just that some of them needed to be adjusted and looked at still. I feel like I feel bad that these guys need to constantly remind us that they that the game is a sort of a living, breathing thing that they have to adjust all the time. I don't know why they have to explain that to us all the time. Why do we demand that? Because it's obvious to me. Like who ever thought? Has there ever been an expansion of anything ever that came out and you went, oh, here's an MMO where everything landed on day one. Questing is perfect. Endgame is perfect. Classes are perfect. You don't have to change a thing. Nothing's wrong with this game. In fact, we'll never, ever patch it. That doesn't exist. So quit poking Blizzard to answer that question. I think that's a dumb thing to have to address. Of course, you need to adjust and look at things. Of course, you need to tweak a class or adjust the stuff here and there. Some of it's hot fixes, some of it's patches. It's really weird to me that people have that hang up. Also, let's see. Hey, Starhammer, he's busy today. I couldn't get him in the show. Relax. Got a Terpster lover in there. Here's this. The truth of the matter is that classes were never complete in WoW and have always been adjusted. He went on to say that. Team's top priority as of now is to get out content consistently and working on the Azerite system and the feel of island expeditions. In this interview, focused big time on island expeditions and how they feel and what they want out of them. They also talked about how Azerite armor was easily accessible in the early game, but the team realizes it became harder to acquire as you progressed in item level. I would agree. I felt like during the entire initial part of the expansion, I felt like I saw like 2 Azerite pieces, and one time one of them upgraded, and I feel like that was it. Like I just didn't really have much of an experience with Azerite. And then the second character I got to 120, I just didn't pay attention. I just picked up whatever had a better eye level and quickly picked whatever Azerite thing I thought I would need, and then that's it. So clearly they have a lot of work to do there. Nobody's argues
both
that.
Island expeditions and Azerite armor are clearly the big issues for this expansion, and since they're 2 of the main features from the expansion, I think that's why people are pissed off.
Right. And
I mean, the extent of the pissed offness is a little bit excessive, so that's another issue. But yeah, that's definitely something that is not working out at the moment. So hopefully they can fix it.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. I hope so too, because I actually really like island expeditions. In theory, I really like them. The problem is they've kind of turned into just kind of this weird run, kill a thing. They just don't feel as dynamic as I think.
It's very repetitive, right?
Yeah, and they've said as much. You know, Ian said in a couple of cases, they're like, yeah, we want to make that feel like a new experience every time you go in. We want it to feel like things are discoverable, that the events...
And they've added these, different creature types that are going to be invading the islands every week, and so they're trying to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. So Asmongold apparently did a state of BFA video that everybody can't stop talking about in the chat. I should check it out and see what's up with that. So apparently that's is he really calling people to strike the game and cancel their subscriptions?
What? Who? What?
Asmongold. He's like a popular streamer, YouTuber guy.
Oh, Asmongold. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if there's some valid stuff there, I'm all in. But if it's just a call to arms, like to cancel your subscriptions, I'm not going to waste my time.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but some people like being angry, and if people don't get value out of the game, then yes, absolutely unsubscribe. You'll have more time and more money to do other things that make you happy.
Okay, chat room is now saying they're correcting me, saying no, he is not saying that. He's saying they're saying his viewers are calling for it. All right, well that's different. Yeah, okay, that's different. Right. I was gonna say I think he's a pretty level-headed dude, as far as I know. I'm trying to decide whether that's worth it or not. Yeah, people just like being angry. That's what that is. Patrick, let's get angry. You want to get angry about something? Let's find something. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not so... Well, I mean, sure, go ahead.
All right. No Diablo 4 at BlizzCon. What? How can it be? I'm boycotting Blizzard forever because they're not done with a thing they're clearly working on.
Thing is, Scott, I'm...
Uh-oh. You're frozen.
I hate it.
Oh, now you're back. Sorry. Go ahead.
And I have half a mind to not buy the virtual ticket, although I will, just for that reason.
Of course you're going to get the virtual
ticket. No,
of
course, yeah. It actually annoys me. But
I'm going to be running around somewhere where someone's filming something for the virtual ticket, and I'm going to bust in and just... Like I may just beg those guys to put me on the couch again this year, just so I can talk to Patrick. Like they'll say, "So tell us about where the instance 15 year. Oh, that's a good." And I'm going to turn to the camera and go, "Hey, Patrick, what's up?" And like throw a gang sign or something. I'm excited about it. You can watch it from
What?
I'm gonna make some face while I'm
Excellent.
Yeah, for you.
I am looking forward to that very much.
All right, great. Tiny the streamer says everyone unsub from WoW because there's no Diablo 4. There's your big I
mean,
thing. I can't think of the word.
Let's not go back to Diablo 4. That's not. It's just,
yeah.
It is extremely. The thing is, a very wise person once said, I think it was Miyamoto, people don't remember the fact that your game was late. They remember the fact that your game sucked.
Yeah.
So, if as much as I hate, and I think we've made it pretty clear, the fact that they're not going to be showing Diablo 4 this time, I would much rather they wait another year and give us a great game than they release it early, or even worse, do a Diablo 3 and announce it in 2008 and wait 4 years until it comes out. So it's a small annoyance that feels big right now, but ultimately is the lesser of many evils.
Yeah, of the prime evils, you might say.
Exactly. That's what I was.
That's what you're aiming at there. Okay, I like it. The only final thing I would say about all of that is, actually, that Miyamoto quote's pretty much says all that needs to be said. But also, this isn't the same as canceling something, so don't get super sad, everybody. It just means they're taking their time with it. And also, Blizzard, I'm not getting any younger, so I also understand this feeling of needing it. Like, I don't want to look any day now. I could be stricken with, I don't know, guy in his 40s. Your penis explodes. I don't know what happens to people, but like, if that happened, then I'd go, my penis has exploded. How I could be playing Diablo and now I can't. I'll be too focused on my exploded penis.
That is true. That would be unfortunate. So please, Blizzard, I think if you take away anything from this entire episode, the most important thing you should remember is to think of Scott's penis.
Yeah, always think of my penis, please. All right, it's time for us to talk about what else is happening around Blizzard. All right, Mal'Ganis is out in Heroes of the Storm, and he's awesome. That is to say, he's fun. I'm not sure he's a main tank. That jury's out. But Mal'Ganis, the famous World of Warcraft villain, is now sitting pretty in Heroes of the Storm, and he's really, really fun. He's a warrior, and he's got a fun kit, and he just feels nice to play. I would recommend it. Even if you're not playing Heroes, go check him out and see what you think of him. It is Mal'Ganis, or as I call him in game, Malformdanus. He's really good though. You should try him.
Okay.
You don't like that? You're not into it?
I'm not going to comment any further on either your penis or Mal'Ganis' anus.
Okay, there you go. Mal'Ganis' anus sounds weird. Just call him Mal'Ganis, and then you got two birds with one stone. No, you don't want to do that.
I don't think I will.
All
Thank
right.
you.
It's
very kind of you to offer that, but I'm good. Thanks.
He's really fun, and he's super just frenetic, and he feels like a big demon lord. He's great. He's definitely a good addition to the game, and he was also kind of a bit of a surprise. He kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody thought we'd get any new heroes before the end of or before BlizzCon, and bam, there he was. And a week later, he was off the PTR and playable. So I don't know what they were doing there. Alan DeBerry, though. Go ahead.
I have a question about heroes.
Yeah.
Do they have anyone cool left to add?
Oh, I think
it feels like they've added all of the super awesome, well-known characters from their universe. I'm a little bit concerned that there are some Overwatch characters left, but all the big shots from StarCraft and Diablo and almost and WoW and Warcraft have been added. So
I'd say more Diablo than anything else because they have a much more limited roster. Just generally, that game's not, story-wise or character-wise, there just aren't a ton to choose from. But
yeah, but I mean, even in the other games, it's kind of tier 2 or tier 3 characters that are left. No?
Yeah. I mean, Mal'Ganis, I would argue, is an important character in the history of Warcraft, but you're right that he's not Jaina or a Thrall.
Exactly.
But I think Warcraft and StarCraft have kind of a more infinite barrel, and they can kind of keep picking from, like Warcraft alone, you could just have bosses and stuff that you haven't thought about in a long time that you used to play, like Mancrick's wife or freaking Hogger, or you can go pretty deep on the memes even.
Yeah.
And you could also there's a lot of talk that they're going to start making native to the game characters from scratch.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay,
which could be interesting. That's not confirmed, and maybe we'll hear more at BlizzCon this year. But with all the story stuff they're trying to create around it, and they have that comic book with some characters that are not in the game but would totally fit in the game, that are made from whole cloth, those could be super interesting. So I think they have plenty of options. I also think as the roster grows, they will slow the amount of heroes they're adding all the time, because you're now you have a really good expansive roster. So I don't think it hurts anything.
I didn't think of this, but you're right. The reason they're doing all of this internal story stuff, maybe they realized a year ago, they were like, hey, we're going to run out at some point, and we need to have more. So that would make sense.
Yeah, and I think that game's in a really good spot right now. It's really fun right now. Alan DeBerry, though, head of the Heroes team, has left the Heroes team. He's been there for a few years, and only the last couple as head of the team. He is now moved on to another unspecified secret project at Blizzard. So once again,
Yet another one.
I want to know what these projects are. Maybe that's what Blizzard's all about this year, or BlizzCon rather, is finally we get to hear about all this weird stuff people are working on. I don't know, but I want to know. Like if it's just incubator stuff and they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, they're not going to tell us about those. If they've got a real game in the works, and finally Stockton, Holinka, freaking all the there's too many to even mention. I can't think of any other names, but there's a bunch of them who've all moved on to these internal secret projects. I want to know. Stockton,
Holinka, Chilton, Browder.
Yep.
I think, didn't Eric Dodds leave the Hearthstone team?
Yeah, maybe Eric Dodds. I don't know if he left the whole company or just the team. I don't remember, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's all of the traditional heavy hitters that have been leading the teams, like the second generation. And yeah, so I just confirmed Eric Dodds we don't know what he's doing. So he's another one that is in that weird place of probably the incubator. So he's also making other games.
Yeah. They're very quiet
and
about
I
it.
think Overwatch did use many of the assets and technology that Titan had, but it was developed in a couple of years, right? And Hearthstone, the story is a little bit more mired, but I think it could also be developed in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And they have had the incubator labeled as incubator for 1 year, but I'm pretty sure they were working on other stuff for at least a year before in those small teams.
Sure.
There was at least one or two. I think it might be there might be something that's ready to be announced. But
yeah, that'd be fine. In lieu of any Diablo significance, it'd be great to find out what they're all working on, because one by one they disappear into a room and grow huge beards and we never hear from them again. And I want to know what's up. I mean, even Holinka, the nicest guy at Blizzard you'll ever meet, you can't squeeze it out of him. Like, they won't say. They must have signed one hell of an NDA. All of them. They've all gone quiet. And they don't even come to the con really anymore. Like last year, I think he was running a marathon in New York or Boston during the con. It's like, I just feel bad seeing all these faces disappear, and I guess new faces come up, but whatever.
Well, they'll show up again when they have something to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. What if the whole time they were working on a robotic replacement for Mike Morhaime? And it's almost ready.
Oh,
it's ready to debut.
That would require at least all of those minds together.
Yeah, which is saying something. What else here? Diablo on Switch has a special edition of the console. I mentioned that. It's all arted up to look very Diablo-ish. They have the Pro Controller as well. They have a special edition of that that's covered in Primeval dark business, which is pretty cool.
Primeval goo.
Yeah. There have been, by the way, it's not to make this today's Diablo show, but there have been comments from both Blizzard and others since we last spoke, saying we very much are aiming for cross-device play and BattleNet stuff. Doesn't mean it's going to launch with it, but I still am
but No. They specifically said we're not doing it for Diablo and Diablo Switch.
Well, that sucks. They should do it there.
Yes.
That's what they should do.
I agree.
Because I would already have it pre-ordered, guys, if you were going to have my BattleNet info across the deal. But because you're not, I haven't pulled the trigger. So there's one guy who's not getting your damn third version of that game.
The other thing that Blizzard should take away from this episode, on top of Scott's penis, is that you are losing 2 entire copies sold of this game. You're missing out on 2 sales, Scott's and mine, just by not having cross save.
Yeah, at least $100, $100 in US dollars you're missing out on, Blizzard. How do you feel?
That is insane. I mean, don't you have shareholders to answer to? That I don't understand your behavior. 2 copies would be sold instantly. Like, even hesitate, and still they're not doing it.
Yeah,
I'm
shocked.
Blizzard, you're right. Whoever was saying early.
By the way, I like that you said on top of Scott's penis. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Finally, I just wanted to sneak this in. This is not going to be a regular discussion on the show, I promise you. But I just wanted to mention Black Ops 4 is really pretty good. It's a good game.
Everyone's saying that.
Yeah. I mean, there's no single-player campaign to speak of. There's this weird single-player story bits for training and that, and it's there. So if you're looking for single-player, you're not going to get it. But the Blackout mode, their Battle Royale take is really, really tight and good. I like it a lot. So, anyway, props to them. I'm playing it on the Blizzard launcher, obviously, because I'm playing it on PC. And I didn't think I'd give a crap, and I totally give a crap. It's fun. It's really fun. If you liked PUBG, but you felt that was a little too janky, or you liked Fortnite, but felt like it was a little too weird with the building and the cartooniness and all that, and you just wanted something that's just, like, polished and faster and fun, but also not janky and broken, and but still gives you that Battle Royale fix. It's real strong. I like it a lot. Hearthstone, we don't know what's going on there.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Okay, you tell me, because I don't pay attention to Hearthstone at all. What's happening?
There's nerfs. Tons of nerfs.
Great.
Well, 3 nerfs.
Great.
And the main one is Giggling Inventor has finally been nerfed. And that doesn't mean anything who's not playing Hearthstone. And if you are, you very likely already know, because that deck was crippling everyone. So you're happy. So there you go. And there are a couple of other nerfs as well, but this one is the main one. Giggling Inventor. Nerfed to the ground.
Oh,
Yay.
Okay. Do you have any expectation for anything cool out of Hearthstone for BlizzCon?
Well, traditionally what they've done is that they've teased all 3 expansions, or what's happening in the next year, and announced 1 expansion. So I suspect that is how it is going to be working. But there is, I think, honestly, for Overwatch and for Hearthstone, there is a growing sentiment in myself, and that's the consensus, that they're a little bit, I don't want to say stale, and I still play Overwatch almost every day, so, that doesn't mean much, but the events in Overwatch have been the same since the game launched, since the first year. And in Hearthstone, it's kind of, they did have the monster hunts and the dungeon runs and stuff like that were interesting and original, but I think for both of those games, the community is ready for something a little bit more substantial, either a new mode or a new, I don't know, honestly I don't know, but that would be. Oh, and here is Corey Stockton again.
Yeah, I was testing something, because earlier every time I showed an image it was turning the audio off, so I was fixing that.
Oh,
because
yeah,
producer, host, and technician all at once.
You are a marvel.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I would love to see some new things in both of those games. Overwatch has been out for 2.5 years now, and it hasn't changed substantially. I mean, they keep adding stuff, and I'm sure we're going to see a new character and a new map and stuff like that, which is great. But yeah, it's starting to be. I can't imagine having the same level of excitement. Like Hearthstone, I kind of fell off the game, which I was playing super hardcore for 2 years, but after a couple of years, I kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And I can see how in Overwatch I'm starting to get into that mode as well. So it would be interesting to see if they do something to get people excited about the games again.
You know what? All I can think about right now, game-wise, Blizzard doesn't really have a way to solve this for me currently. I can't get enough of space games, and it doesn't really matter what kind, like privateer, freelancer style. Go out, do missions, blow up pirates, bring back their loot. I played a bunch of EVE last week, EVE Online. I never do that.
You are starved for stuff.
I like things like Endless Space and Stellaris, and I've been playing Galactic Civilizations 3, which is like a turn-based kind of Civ-style space game. So are those other two that I mentioned, sort of. They're all a little bit different, but I can't get enough of it. My second most anticipated game in the next 6 months outside of Red Dead Redemption is Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. I cannot wait for that game because it looks like it's everything I love about these things. If Blizzard would make in the StarCraft universe, if you want, whatever, but I just want to pilot my own ship. I want to take it out into the stars, and I want to stop pirates and loot stuff and smuggle a bunch of ore across the system and negotiate with hostile forces. And oh my gosh, it's my genre right now. It's all I want. It's all I want.
Yeah, I can't remember what was that game that was kind of a privateer.
Was it Rebel Galaxy?
Spiritual sequel. No, it was early 2000s. Oh God, I can't remember.
Was it Freelancer? Was it
Freelancer. Maybe it was Freelancer.
I love Freelancer.
And yeah, it was like I could see something. And the StarCraft universe is perfect for this. The only reason this could maybe be unlikely is that it's kind of difficult to make a game as a service out of.
Exactly.
So maybe they would think.
I feel like they get hamstrung because of that. I don't know that it's bad or good. Probably good for business to think the way they're thinking, but for me, I want a big, expansive single-player experience. Like I kind of want EVE without all the people in it. Is that weird to say? Sorry, everybody, but
no, I see what I mean. I would love to have that, and with the Blizzard polish and accessibility and all of that.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Yeah, it would be really awesome. Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, though, that's the one to keep your eye on, folks. If you're paying attention to that stuff at all, it's going to be good. All right, well, that's it for that. Now let's dive in headfirst into what we like to call Town Crier.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the Town Crier.
Okay, we got an email here for the Town Crier from Matt. He sent an email to theinstance@gmail.com. You're all encouraged to do this, so please do. He says, hey guys, I used to love the chaos of world DPS rankings, but had to give up on that in Legion. The legendaries introduced too much RNG to make actual comparisons of skill. I got hosed and never got decent legendaries the entire expansion. I think that's why I don't get all the hate on Azerite. Seems to be more of the same for me and the majority of players. Love the show, Matt. Not everybody loved legendaries last expansion, Patrick. I remember that was a big deal for a lot of us because we get so excited about finding one in a box one day, or however you ended up getting your legendaries. But his point, I think, is it's not, what's Azerite gear's better because it's less chaos and it's less RNG in his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he says seems to be more of the same for me. So I don't know if he loves it more. But yeah, the problem with Azerite is that you can't really get the trait you want on the item level gear you need. But they're kind of addressing that with more rings on the Azerite gear and more ways to get Azerite gear. So hopefully it will work better. But legendaries, I think that's why they didn't come back, because it was too random. Either you had it and it was really cool, or you had the two that were, the best in slot combination for your class spec,
right?
Or you didn't. And if you didn't, you were indeed a little bit shafted. So I get what he's saying. I think Blizzard did too. It was still fun to get those legendaries and to have them affect the way you play your class. I think the intent there was cool, but of course there's always a small subset of players that are going to be impacted negatively about this. And if I'm not sure what he means by the chase of world DPS rankings, like he wanted to world DPS rank in world DPS. I'm not sure what that is.
Like he wanted to be. I don't know where you actually see this, and I may just be dumb on this point because I never care much about my EPing when it comes to DPS, but.
Like have the highest DPS possible, and there are ranking sites that rank your raw DPS.
Even if it's just like top realm DPS, like kind of the similar kind of competition to who's world first mythic dungeon, this and that.
Yeah, but I mean, world DPS, you like go against you hit a mannequin thing in the capital, and you're like, oh yeah, I put out 20% more DPS.
There maybe is a mod. Maybe there's a mod or something. There's probably something.
Yeah, it's possible.
The chat room says maybe they're talking about
Warcraft. The chat room is saying Warcraft logs. So yeah, it's something like that.
Okay.
I mean, I get the fun of it. You gear your thing really well, and you do your rotation really well, and that's. And that's, I think, part of the reason beyond just the DPS rankings. It was making you better at the thing if you had it, and it sucked if you didn't.
Right.
And there was no clear way of, a path to getting those legendaries you wanted or needed. And they kind of addressed it towards the end of the expansion. It was a little bit easier to target those things, but I think that's why it didn't come back. And the system was kind of mixed into and diluted into the Azerite gear, which has its own challenges. But I think, Matt, your concern there is warranted to the point that it was warranted with the dev team as well.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, there was also fun aspects of those legendaries being rare. It's just that it for some people it wasn't the best.
Well,
for many people.
Rarity solves one of the problems players have complained about for years in all MMOs, which is at the end of the day, if you all do the same thing, you all get the same stuff, and we're all just no one's a unique snowflake. Everybody gets a trophy, right? And so people are like, well, what are ways where I could really be the best and somebody else can't be or won't be? And the way they did it was with luck, kind of, with RNG. And then people complain. So, I don't know. It's hard balance.
There's always a tension between those two, and it's difficult to please everyone. And sometimes if you please one type of player, the other is, displeased. I think in Legion, the difference with what's happening in BFA now was that there was so many things that were superb in Legion.
Yeah.
And that were really that they achieved those goals. They hit the nail on the head on those goals in Legion, and not as much in BFA. System like story-wise and leveling-wise, and for what was already there, like dungeons and raids and stuff like that. BFA is still pretty strong, and leveling wise it's very strong, I think. But on the new systems, they are they fell a bit short. Whereas in Legion, you had it was when they introduced world quests, which was like this amazing thing that fixed everything about dailies, about daily quests. So and the news, I mean, the different zones were great and all of that. So anyway,
I still think that was a great move, even though it's no longer a new feature. I think world quests.
The world quests, that was
huge. Huge
Diablo
thing.
Inspired, by the way.
Yeah, and it'll stay there forever, probably, in every expansion for all time. I want to make a quick quote here. Cody Ashkiku, or however you say your name in the chat room, says, Azerite power and traits are not so much, Azerite traits are so much a mess, I canceled my subscription after 13 years. I just want to say to him, that's what you're supposed to do if you're not happy with this stuff. And so I completely support that particular train of thought. Like, we will get the most response out of Blizzard for things you think are wrong with their game when you stop paying for it outright. And they're motivated, like any company is, to do that. So I just wanted to throw it out there from our earlier conversation today. If you really are bummed out by the way things are, despite the fact that it's, after 13 years, that's a long run, and you're out, it's probably the right thing to do. If you're not enjoying it, don't pay for it. That seems silly to me, to pay for things you don't like. I mean, I'm liking it, but I'm mainly liking it right now because I'm raiding with some friends. That's about it. Like, I've gone from constant, like, how I pounded out 3 alts and I went crazy. in those first chunks. And I don't think I burned myself out or anything, but I just got to a point now where it's like, well, what do? I can go to an island. Ugh. I can go to Warfront. Ugh. I can do dailies and grind freaking rep. Ugh. Or I can raid with my friends. I can murder Mother one more time.
Listen, Scott.
Yeah.
Not everyone has friends, okay? You're lucky enough that you do. Please be considerate towards those like me who don't.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's going to do it for the show, everybody. Oh, by the way, email us. theinstance@gmail.com is the email address. If you'd like more Patrick, he's got stuff all over the place at frenchspin.com. And so make sure you check that out, and not Patrick on Twitter. But more importantly, I think this is a good place to note that Patrick and I now do a monthly show about all things video games. We do it primarily geared toward the tech audience of the Daily Tech News Show. It's sort of in that universe. But a lot of you may get a kick out of it otherwise. We do kind of Patrick sort of structures that show as a way to speak to a broader audience that isn't just necessarily in the know all the time like we are, or like you might be listening to us now. But I think you might get a kick out of it. So it's worth checking out. Patrick, remind people where they can get the monthly video game briefing.
Well, just search for monthly video game briefing on your podcast app. And as Scott said, the thing is, you might be a Blizzard gamer and you love every Blizzard game or many Blizzard games, and you kind of keep an eye on other stuff, but you're not like, you don't want to listen to a 2-hour podcast every week to know what's been happening in that industry. And the monthly video game briefing is the solution for that. It's every month you get a 45 minutes to an hour show that summarizes the big stuff, explains to you why it's important, and yeah, that's all you need. So maybe you would be interested in that. So if you are, just go subscribe.
Yeah,
damn it.
Yeah,
just do it.
That's right. Today's title might be "Go Kill Mother One More Time." It sounds creepy, doesn't it? A little bit creepy.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit. No, don't
do it. You're recommending against it.
I think something about Scott's penis is much better.
You know, I've never agreed with you more than I do right now. Don't forget to find us on the web, theinstance.net. You can also go to frogpants.com and find all the other shows that are being produced therein, and links to everything that we talk about. They're right there. If you're missing archives of the show, want to see old video versions, whatever it may be, we got you covered at theinstance.net. Instant Show on Twitter. Patrick's at Not Patrick. I'm at Scott Johnson. We got more shows like this at frogpants.com. That's going to do it for us. For me, for Patrick, and for all of you. We'll see you next time.